You don't actually want to accelerate the aging process. You don't want to deal with chronic diseases. So, if that's the case, what are some of the specific foods that are more beneficial and truly supportive of healthy aging? Are you ready? Let's dive right into them. All right, the very first thing I'm going to share with you for more natural, healthier aging and for actually slowing down the aging process is this. Eat more colorful fruits and vegetables. Okay. What exactly do I mean by colorful fruits and vegetables? Well, think about berries. They're incredibly vibrant. Bell peppers, too. Fruits like apples, oranges, lemons, limes, and grapes. You can see that all of these colorful foods, including stone fruits like peaches, pears, and plums. I mean, just picture it. You go to your local farmer's market and you see big, beautiful piles of these fruits and vegetables. It's like staring at a rainbow, a true kaleidoscope of color. All right? Now, here is the key point. The natural compounds that give fruits and vegetables their gorgeous, diverse colors are actually polyphenols. Polyphenols that protect your body against the stresses of aging, shield it from free radical damage, which harms your DNA, and also defend you against inflammation. These are forms of stress, a kind of chemical stress, and inflammation as well. This whole idea of stress, free radical damage, and inflammation, these are just three of the major drivers of premature aging. So, when you choose to eat the rainbow, you're actively opposing or countering some of these core aspects of aging. You're fighting back against stress, countering DNA damage from free radicals, and reducing inflammation. This is truly, truly important. Now, researchers from China published findings in Frontiers in Nutrition, which is one of the major journals, showing that berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, are especially effective at reducing that kind of oxidative stress that puts pressure on your cells and speeds up the aging process. And berries also lower inflammation, okay? In fact, when they studied large populations, they discovered that those individuals who consumed the highest levels of foods containing these antioxidant polyphenols actually showed the fewest visible signs of aging. Their skin looked better, appeared less aged, with fewer wrinkles and less sagging. And when they compared the berry eaters to people who didn't eat berries, they found that the people who didn't eat berries had more wrinkles and more skin sagging. This is really important, all right? So, this is actually visible. You can see it with your own eyes. The take-home message here is that polyphenol-rich foods, and fiber-rich foods too, are crucial. These fruits and berries contain dietary fiber. In fact, pound for pound, raspberries are among the most fiber-rich foods available. But polyphenols and dietary fiber, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, dark chocolate is another source of polyphenols and some dietary fiber, and nuts, specifically tree nuts like almonds, cashews, macadamias, and walnuts. These foods actually protect your DNA, guard against cellular stress, and lower inflammation. And as a result, this is what researchers have been consistently finding. They help protect your skin against the ravages of aging, improve elasticity, that's the stretchiness of your skin, and support healthy cell turnover. What is cell turnover? It's the process where new skin replaces old skin, right? We all know that old skin doesn't look great. New skin rejuvenates it. Have you ever had a facial or a skin scrub? You see all that dead skin that comes off? That's exposing the new skin and sloughing off the old. So your skin looks fresher, less wrinkled, less saggy, and has more resiliency. So, how do you put this into practice? Well, I recommend simply adding a handful of fresh berries to your breakfast every day. If you're having oatmeal or yogurt, those are great foods to pair with dairy because they're also healthy. Oatmeal contains beta-D-glucan, which is a form of fiber that's excellent for your gut health. Yogurt is a probiotic food. I always recommend getting whole yogurt. Add some berries to them. That's a great way to boost your polyphenol load right at the start of the day. Another thing you can do is nibble on a small square of dark chocolate. All right, now, how dark? Most studies show that the darker, the better. So I suggest 80%, 85%, or even higher. That's quite dark, and that kind of dark chocolate is somewhat bitter. So here's my practical tip for you. Take a square of very dark chocolate, and if it's too bitter for your taste, combine it with a cup of black coffee. Coffee plus chocolate equals mocha. So, if you're drinking coffee, which also helps slow down the effects of aging, and eating dark chocolate, you can either put the chocolate right into the coffee or use chopped cocoa powder or dark chocolate powder. Stir it in, and you've made your own mocha. Or simply eat them together. Sip some coffee, nibble on a piece of chocolate. It has the same effect, just on your tongue instead of in the cup. Now, here's another practical tip. I recommend keeping a small bowl of mixed nuts within reach. Again, walnuts, pistachios, pecans, cashews. I recently made some toasted cashews and sprinkled on a little rosemary powder, just a bit to add some spice. Rosemary contains rosmarinic acid, which is also anti-inflammatory and helps slow down cellular aging. So when you eat some of those nuts, you get healthy fats, lots of dietary fiber to feed your gut microbiome, and your inflammation levels come down. With lower inflammation, you're actively countering those effects of aging. Okay, that's my first tip. Second tip. To slow down the effects of cellular aging, I recommend incorporating healthy fats into your diet. And guess where some of the biggest benefits show up? That's right, in your brain. You want healthier brain aging. You want healthier fats. So you might be thinking, aren't all fats bad? Not really. Actually, our bodies need fat. Some fat is essential for survival. Healthy fats, everything in moderation, but healthy fats like omega-3 fatty acids, which you can get from seafood. Not just salmon, mackerel, sardines, and anchovies, they have a lot of good omega-3s, but you can even get them from lighter white flesh fish that don't look oily but actually contain omega-3s. Cod, hake, halibut, flounder, and even seafood like clams, mussels, squid, shrimp, lobsters, and crab also contain omega-3s as well. They live in the sea, after all. At the end of the day, they're nibbling on things like plankton that contain omega-3s, so they get some of the benefits too. You eat them, you get the benefits. The point is, healthy fats lead to a healthy brain. As we age, we want our brain, our noggin, to stay incredibly sharp. If you don't like seafood, can't get seafood, or you're allergic to seafood, omega-3 dietary supplements are worth it. One of the few supplements that I think most of us probably don't get enough of from whole foods. So I'm completely fine with supplementing or topping off with omega-3s. How do we know this is important? Well, at least when it comes to omega-3s, researchers at Qingdao University in China actually conducted a study and published it in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. They found that the omega-3s found in foods like salmon, flaxseed, and walnuts can lower inflammation in the body. And by lowering inflammation, they counter the ravages of aging. But they specifically found that this countering effect shows up in cognitive function. That's brain function, executive functions. Here's what they did. These researchers looked at more than 100,000 people and discovered that those who ate more omega-3s, regardless of the source, were less likely to experience memory loss or cognitive decline as they got older. That is very, very important. In fact, simply increasing the amount of omega-3s daily, just taking a supplement every single day, led to a 10% lower risk of developing cognitive issues. So this adds to the growing evidence that our brain function is something we can nurture even as we age to counter the ravages of getting older. Most of us look at very elderly people and think, wow, I never want to end up like that. But there are plenty of older individuals who have remarkably sharp brain function, and those are the people you want to emulate. And omega-3s are actually one of those tools that can help fight dementia and cognitive decline. Now, as a scientist as well as a doctor, I'm going to tell you the question I always ask. Well, how do omega-3s work? It turns out that omega-3s lower brain inflammation. Remember, inflammation is one of those hallmarks of aging. As you age, your body becomes more inflamed. So omega-3s counter that, and that seems to be key to keeping our brains truly sharp. Let me give you some practical tips about omega-3s. As I said, you can eat seafood, all the ones I listed: salmon, mackerel, cod, hake, shrimp, clams, mussels, squid. And by the way, not only is this beneficial for your brain, it's also beneficial for your heart. Omega-3s are well known to be beneficial for cardiovascular disease. They actually help the lining of your blood vessels, your endothelial cell lining. I study blood vessels, so I know a lot about the 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. Omega-3s help pave the roads, the highways along those 60,000 miles of journey. Every bit of oxygen we breathe and every nutrient we eat has to travel down these highways and byways in your body. Omega-3s make that process work really, really well. Okay, what's another healthy fat? I alluded to this earlier: extra virgin olive oil. Now, there are some omega-3s and some monounsaturated fatty acids and omega-3s. All good for vascular health, all good for brain health. But extra virgin olive oil also contains polyphenols like hydroxytyrosol and oleocanthal. These are super potent anti-inflammatory polyphenols that can lower inflammation everywhere in your body, including your brain. How much omega-3s do you need to eat? Well, in fish, about the amount you'd get from a piece of fish roughly the size of a deck of cards. What about extra virgin olive oil? Anywhere between 3 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil has been associated with better health, better aging, and overall better organ health. You might say 3 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. That seems like a lot. Well, if you go to the Mediterranean, and I did a gap year before medical school, living in the Mediterranean, in Italy and Greece, you'll find that many foods are actually cooked with extra virgin olive oil. And when you're cooking, check out some recipes. You'll see quite a bit of extra virgin olive oil being used. And when you eat it across breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's actually pretty easy to get 3 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now, I always tell people, if you're going to buy olive oil, get the ones that have the highest amount of polyphenols. You may have heard me mention this before, but I'll say it again. There are 3 types of olives used to make olive oil that have the highest levels of polyphenols. There's a Spanish olive called the picual, Picual, very high in polyphenols. Fortunately, it's a very common olive in Spain. The second one, in Italy, is Moraiolo. Moraiolo comes from Umbria, although you can find them in other olive groves throughout Italy. It's less common, a little more expensive. And then in Greece, look for olive oil made with Koroneiki olives. These are from the Peloponnese, the southern part of Greece. Between Koroneiki olives, Moraiolo olives, and Picual olives, these are 3 varietals of olives that are super high in these healthy, inflammation-lowering polyphenols that are good for brain health as we age to counter that inflammation. So, how do you find these when you go to a grocery store? Listen, I used to be confused by this. You walk up to this huge wall of different types of extra virgin olive oils. Here's what I do. I look for Greek, Italian, or Spanish olive oil. Fortunately, there are quite a lot of choices. Then I look for monovarietal. Monovarietal means that inside that bottle is extra virgin olive oil that comes from one and only one variety of olive. Picual from Spain, Koroneiki from Greece. These are 2 very easy ones to find. Moraiolo from Italy, from Umbria, is a bit more difficult. But if you're having trouble finding these monovarietal olive oils in your grocery store made with Picual, Koroneiki, or Moraiolo olives, guess what? You can order them online. Just enter the names of those olives plus monovarietal olive oil, and they'll ship it right to your house. Now look, olive oil is sort of liquid gold. It tastes great. The polyphenols give you a little bit of peppery zing in the back of your throat after you have it. A little bit of sourdough bread is a great way to enjoy it. Or if I'm cooking eggs, and by the way, eggs are also good for brain health, I don't use butter or seed oils. I actually use extra virgin olive oil. That way, you get the polyphenols in your scrambled eggs or your fried eggs as well. So, look, let me wrap this up by telling you a couple of things. Number 1, we all age every single day. Every day we're alive, we're aging. And it's not until we reach the second half of our lives that we really start to see and feel those effects of aging. The foods we eat can actually counter the speed at which we age, and therefore how we feel and how we look. So if you want to live long, and live well, and look good at the same time, what you want to do is add life to your years, not just years to your life. This isn't only about longevity. It's about thriving, about looking good, feeling good, and having a sharp brain, as I mentioned. So, nourish your body as you age, with intention, and remember that the choices you are making today lay the foundation for how well you are going to look, feel, and think in the years ahead. If you liked this video, please subscribe. If you know someone who could benefit from what you just heard, please share this video with them. And with that, I can't wait to share the next video with you. So, I will see you in that next video.